Have you put a deadline or at least a goal in mind of something that you want to attain before you finally say today's the day, or is there some sort of metric that lets you say, okay, I'm going not until this happens?
So generally, I think I always told myself once things start getting worse, like I kind of not that I got to a peak, but I kind of told myself if okay, if I can't make the same amount of money or more money the next year to a certain degree, I would probably call it quits or like if things don't improve year after year. And I do feel like over the last 4 years, like I've kind of taken steps forward which has allowed me to, kind of want to still play because like I don't really want to play just to play. I want to play to get better and be good, right? So that's kind of where my mentality is with hockey. Like I kind of want to play until like I don't want to be like the guy where it's like, all right, like just let the kids play now, right? Like like I don't want to kind of like hang on to it for too long if it's not going well, type of thing. But another goal of mine is to, I would like to say, when I'm 50 that I played 10 years of pro hockey.
Hmm.
And so is it fair to say the money is the gauge for okay, this is what my services are worth. We're on that steady climb up type of deal?
Yeah, I mean, I think they both go hand in hand, right? It's like, yeah, like if you do better, you're gonna make more money or whatever it is, or if you do worse, like you won't. So I feel like the money is just a good gauge kind of on how things are going, rather than, like I can still play if I wanted to, but that type of thing. I don't know. I feel like, I do want to make it to 10 years, but I also want to keep, laddering up as much as possible because like I don't feel like I would love hockey if I was just like declining type of thing.
Well, like you said off the top, you're having fun with it right now. So, I mean, I think that's a pretty big good metric to kind of use as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, until it becomes not fun or not worth it, I mean, I'll play till whenever I can. And, it's getting a bit tougher now. I'm gonna get married next year, and things will move along with that, having a family and all that stuff might play a factor eventually, but I would really like I think a big goal of mine is to say I played 10 years.
Sitting next to a guy who's had double hip surgery, how's your health?
Good. I mean, no surgeries for me. I mean, I missed last year I missed my first game of pro hockey from health, which was I broke my finger in warm-ups and we're on the road and they didn't have a splint for me, so I couldn't hold my stick. So I had to sit out that game. That was the only game I missed in my 8 years so far.
Well, you've dodged a bullet as far as, hips because it seems more and more with this new style, like of all the big guys that you were talking about earlier, they seem to be hip, hip, hip. Do you think that's something to do with your size or just your style of play?
I think it's both, like just the way the game's evolving and how much you got to butterfly and use your post and all these things. Like I think your hips just get mangled, and I don't even my hips aren't. I might need hip surgery. I don't even know, but they feel all right so
Good.
far.
Oh, you'd know.
Yeah.
There's there's a certain NHL goalie. I think you can probably figure out who, Dave, but he mentioned to me any NHL goalie 6'3" plus, they've had one, if not both, hips done. So the fact that you're feeling good and you haven't had either, I know you're not 6'3", but that's a rarity in goaltending.
It is, especially at this age.
Is it isn't it such a unique position? I was chatting with a gal the other day. She'd been doing quite a bit of modeling, and she had just turned 25, and she's like, basically, I'm used goods. And I thought to myself, well, you're beautiful, you're not used goods, but in the goaltending world, like it's kind of like the same thing. Like you get to that 25 towards 30, like you're on the used goods market.
Yeah, I mean, it's yes and no though, because like a lot of guys start there nowadays. Like guys start at 24, 25. I mean, like I just remember like last year I played like the preseason game for the Devils against the Rangers. Like they had that kind of most of their AHL team in, and so we had all of our AHL guys because they were over in Europe. And I think we won like 3-1, and people were like, "Oh my god, like that's so cool!" And then like the other person would come like, "He's 28, like he's washed."
You feel like you're starting to be the old man in the room, like you mentioned that mentorship earlier, but it's a tough age to be at in the locker room.
It's pretty prevalent that I'm the old guy in the room now. Because like even the guys that are my age now, like the guys that are even 28, 29, like they started at 25, not 20. So like they're still like not new, but like they're newer to, to the pro hockey scene and the way things work. So like, last year I did all like I was our team rep for like the players union and stuff. So like I get the calls every day from everyone. Hey, like I got stitches here. How am I going to file my workers' comp and all these things? And
Is that something that interests you at all as far as like the business side of it? Because obviously, your old man's still working in the game doing that side of it. Does that interest you?
a little bit, not entirely, but it was a pretty cool experience actually being like the rep for the team. It got handed to me by accident. The guy who was doing it put me down as like the second man if he were to get traded or cut or anything, and he got traded. So sprung that on me real quick, but it was pretty fun actually to, you kind of learn the ins and outs of how like teams operate and whatnot.
Are you holding court on Monday mornings?
No, we don't do that. Just don't show up late.
We got a signature question we ask on the show, and sorry, Dave, I'm going to beat you to it.
Do it.
Do you remember your first pro contract, the first signing bonus, and what you spent it on?
First pro contract had a $0 signing bonus, so it's kind of tough.
Was there ever a signing bonus?
Well, okay, so there wasn't. There wasn't ever. I was really, I think my first year, like I was maybe getting offered an AHL deal, and it would have been like a $25,000 one. I got really excited about it, but then the deal fell through, so that never worked out. But I will say, like when I first started making hockey money, then like my first thing I bought was a dog.
What kind?
It was a Husky Akita mix.
Oh,
And she was awesome. And then I signed, so I was in Allen, Texas, and then I signed back in Allen. And then I goes, oh, by the way, like unless you're married, like you can't have a dog. So I had to give it to my neighbor. So now my neighbor over here, it's like her dog, but I still see her a bunch and whatnot. So
Wait, so was that a team rule? If you don't have a wife, no dogs?
yeah, because you're living in their apartments, right? So they are allowed to make those rules if they wanted to. So I mean, I bought the dog middle of my first year when it was like a little thing, but then yeah, so like my mom obviously was too busy to take care of it while I was gone for the season, so like we had to give it. We ended up giving her to one of my neighbors, which was a great decision in hindsight.
and what about now? You got a pooch at home?
Not yet, not yet. We're thinking about it, but we'll see.
Well, let me tell you, and this is a little bit of my age and wisdom coming in, but when my wife and I had to make the tough decision to have our Great Dane put down, the last thing I whispered in her ear was, "Thank you for preparing me to be a father." So if you and your fiance are ever thinking about that down the road, it's a great stepping stone as far as responsibility and that kind of stuff. So don't wait, don't think about it too long.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
And get a big dog too; they're fun.
Yeah, I like big dogs.
He likes corgis.
I want a pack of corgis, but I got to find the wife and the kids first before I get the corgis. So
Hey, more hockey content. It's might be old, it might be new, it might be a full episode, it might be a half episode, but you can click these boxes because who doesn't like clicking boxes?